I'm Jacob Nielsen. Welcome to our video on paper prototyping. The video has three parts. First, background on paper prototyping. Second, a demonstration of how to build a paper prototype. And third, demonstration of how to test one with users. In my experience, most design teams don't use paper prototyping. It just seems too primitive to give good data for their important project. But it does work. We just have to show it to make people believe, and that's the goal of this video. Paper prototyping has two main goals. First, to collect usability data fast and cheaply. And second, to get this data early in the design process. And the second is really the most important. It really is fine to use low fidelity prototypes. You can test a lot of things. You can test the features. What are you doing in the first place? You can test the structure or information architecture of a website or intranet. You can test the task flow, the navigation through the user interface, users' understanding of the service. Do they get the basic concepts? Many details of the interaction design, menus, buttons, labels, and so on. Do people understand the content, the writing style, is that appropriate, the visual style, the homepage design? All of these can be tested with paper prototyping. Users really get into the spirit of the test, even if the user interface only exists on a piece of paper. There's a suspension of disbelief, and people really focus on doing their test tasks. Paper prototyping does work. Give it a try in your next project. Now let's see how it's done. Here's Juan Loranger to show us.
Paper prototypes are created from everyday office supplies. They could be as basic as simple hand sketches, photocopies, cut-out pieces of paper, or a combination of these things. This is an example of some prototypes that were created by using basic hand sketches. Notice how low res they can be and still be effective in testing. This prototype was made by combining pre-existing graphics with hand sketches. Coloring in some areas made it look more realistic. This example shows how with a little bit of creativity and imagination, you can create prototypes that represent important elements in your design. Notice how the designers effectively use color to represent groupings and what their final product might look like. To test prototypes and simulate the interactions, have the participants use a pen to point to things they want to click on and write in what they would normally type. Here are some suggested materials to get you started. We recommend low-fidelity prototypes to be made with plain white paper. You could use standard or legal size paper. Large size paper is easier to see, especially if you have observers or are videotaping. Keep a supply stack on hand for brainstorming and sketching out new ideas. One of the most basic and useful tools that you should have in your supplies box are scissors. You'll need them for cutting out things such as screenshots, graphics, and other elements that you create. Paper correction tape is invaluable in paper prototyping to modify and make changes quickly. Also, with paper correction tape, you can make it so that you could reuse your prototypes over again. Put this tape in the areas that people write in and replace it at the end of each session. Self-stick notes such as Post-it notes are good for simulating drop-down menus, pop-up boxes, and dialog boxes. It's sticky enough to keep in place, but can be lifted off without damaging the prototype. Double-sided adhesive film for temporary binding turns any piece of paper into a sticky note. There might be times when you want to temporarily affix something to the prototype, such as a picture or a navigation that changes. Use transparency tape when you want to affix something permanently to your prototype or to make repairs. Use the matte kind. It produces less of a glare, which is better for videotaping. We recommend creating your prototypes with medium tip pens so that the lines are big enough so both users and observers can see, but they're not so fat so that the lines blend together, making it difficult to read. Also, if videotaping, choose proper pen thickness so that it'll show up well. If colors are important to your design, try to use colors that represent what you intend to use in the final product. However, monochromatic prototypes are okay too. Remember not to get stuck on the details. The true test of your graphic design can be done later with high-fidelity prototypes. Colored index cards are good for representing blocks of information. If you have big areas that you want to visually separate, creating each area with a different colored index card can achieve this effect. A way of making your prototype reusable is to place a transparency on top of it. Consider having participants use wet-dry erase markers so you can reuse the transparencies. With this basic set of supplies, you're on your way to creating prototypes. As you continue prototyping, you'll develop your own style, and this list will give you a good start. Now let's take a look at how you could use some of these materials to simulate different types of widgets and interactions. First, let's see how simple widgets can be created. If the links in your interface will be underlined, go ahead and underline them on your prototype. During testing, if a person clicks on something that is not a link, tell them that it's not a link and ask them to try something else. Make sure to note this as a finding. Create text input fields by drawing a rectangular box large enough for people to write in. Notice how it doesn't need to be perfect. For checkboxes, prepare strips of correction tape. Draw an X on each strip, and during the test, place the strips inside the selected square. Do the same for radio buttons, except replace the X with a dot. For action buttons, write the button name inside rectangles or circles. This is a good way to test whether or not people understand the button labels. For drop-down menus, list the items on a self-stick note, then stick it in the proper area once a category is selected. To represent tab navigation, use different color paper or index cards to represent each tab. During testing, place the tab that the participant chooses on top of the stack. Simple widgets and interactions can be simulated well enough with paper prototypes. Simulating complex, subtle, or multimedia interactions is a little bit more challenging and isn't perfect. However, with a little bit of creativity and imagination, you can roughly simulate some of these interactions. Let's now take a look at how it could be done. To show highlighting, use strips of transparency film or draw boxes on transparency film to represent a selection. Drag and drop interaction is difficult to simulate well with paper prototypes. One thing you can do is do nothing and just present the screen and watch what people do. If people select an object and drag their pointer to a location, then that's a good indication that they're dragging and dropping. Some people might not even know that dragging and dropping is possible or know how to use it. In this case, ask the participant to explain what they expect the system to do at this point. A good neutral question is, what do you expect to happen now? Sometimes it's important to find out whether or not people scroll on certain pages or see certain elements that are below the fold. You can roughly measure this by preparing a browser frame with scroll bars that represent a given resolution. Place the frame on top of the prototype, and as the user points to the scroll bars, move the prototype up or down. Don't bother with sound or music if it's not a main component of the overall flow of your interface. However, if sound is an integral part of your design, for example, for a music download site, you might want to consider simulating music in the following ways. Place a music or sound symbol next to the prototype to show that music is playing. Make sure to explain this symbol to the participant ahead of time. Another idea is to have live music. Have a CD player next to you so you can play it whenever the user prompts it. If animation or video is not an integral part of what you're testing, don't bother trying to simulate it. It's a limitation to paper prototyping. However, if video is important, consider playing it on a separate screen or monitor. You could also simulate content data and search results. Remember, paper prototyping is meant to be quick and easy, so if the content really isn't relevant to what you're testing, then sometimes you can fake the content, or better yet, Greek the text. In other words, replace the words with squiggly lines. However, if testing the content is important, then by all means have the real content. It's usually not important to make it look like the final product, but it should have enough formatting, such as headings and bullets and indents, to test the main concepts. In this case, typing it up on a computer and printing it out might be quicker than writing it all out by hand. For search engine results, since you won't know exactly what people will enter as their research query, you might want to prepare varying levels of search results, depending on what people enter. Have a backup search results page to use for those unexpected search results queries. Now we'll put it all together and show you how paper prototypes are tested. The first demonstration is of an e-commerce website. Even if you don't design for any of these specific types of examples we're going to show you, Many of the techniques may still apply to your project. Thank you for coming in today. We're in the early phases of designing our website, which is an office supplies website. And as part of the process, we're going to have you take a look at it and do some tasks on the site and give us your feedback. The purpose of doing this is to get your input on how to improve the usability of our website. You're going to be working on a computer, which happens to be on paper. This is James. He's going to be helping us out today. He's going to be playing the computer and handing you the screens as you work on your tasks. The way this works is, this is your computer area. You might be getting a screen that looks something like this, and you'll be using this pen as your mouse and keyboard. So for example, if there's an area that you would normally type in with your keyboard, you would just write it in. Like for instance, in this area here, you would write it in instead of typing it in. Also, if there's an area you would normally click, like for instance, like this button here, then you would just point to that. Since we're in the early phases of designing the website, we may not have all the screens that you might need, and you might encounter a screen that looks like this. It says under construction. So when you see something like this, don't worry about it. We'll guide you through the process. Also, sometimes the computer can be slow or need some time to make some modifications. So you might get a screen that looks like this. It just means that the computer is thinking. As you're working, please think out loud. Tell me what you're looking for. If there's anything particularly confusing, something that you like or dislike, all of that is important for us to know. I know this is an unnatural situation, but please try to do what you normally would if you were on your own. I'll give you the tasks one at a time and go as far as you normally would if you were by yourself. When you get to a stopping point or think that you're done, just say, "I'm done." Remember, we're not evaluating you in any way. You're helping us improve our website. The session is scheduled for 60 minutes. During that time, if you need to take a break or stop at any time, just let me know and we can do that. Just to get you in that thinking out loud mode, let's have you read this out loud.
Please tell us what you're thinking as you do your tasks. If you're reading anything interesting, please read it out loud. Tell us if anything comes to mind that you don't understand or that you think is particularly easy to understand. Your comments will help us understand the usability of the website we are evaluating.
Here's your first task. Go ahead and read this out loud.
Your office is almost running out of some supplies. Go to the website and see if you can get 6 rolls of this product. It is used to cover up single-line items of text before making copies. There's no rush since your office still has some left to last a few weeks. Below is some of the information in case you might need it. It has a name and the company and credit card and phone numbers and all that. Alright, I'm supposed to be looking for single line cover up, and I think that's under tape and tape dispensers. I'm reading here and I don't see the cover up tape under the tape thing or icon that I clicked, so I guess I'm going to click back and see if I can find it somewhere else. Wasn't that one, so
We don't have a page for that. What were you expecting to see?
it's called cover up tape. So I was looking for tape for stickers because it sticks.
Okay, let's have you try something else.
Okay. Oh, there's something called correction, so I guess that you're covering up your corrections. Correction pens, fluid, correction tape, and correction ribbon. So I'm going to try tape. I'm looking for the correction tape one line. That would be this one here. I found it. So liquid correction tape, one line. So this looks just like the instructions I was given, so I should buy this. I guess I have to go back. So, and I need to buy how many of these? 6 rolls of this product. So I'm going to buy 6 of those. My shopping cart, I bought 6 at the price. Okay, cool. So I'm going to check out. And shipping information. Okay. California, zip code 92503. Continue. Please choose shipping address. Okay. Alright, I think I'm sending it to the same as the billing address, so I'll do that there. Alright, so I've selected it, so I'll hit continue. Alright, my billing information is all filled in. Continue. Please enter the phone number. Oh, okay. All right, and I'm gonna put in my work number, I guess. 9. Continue. Payment information. Here's the MasterCard. Credit card number. Expiration month. April. And the year. 2005. Name on the card. Continue. Shipping method, 3-day. Continue. Reviewing order. Got the name right, the billing address is accurate, shipping method's accurate, payment method. Place your order. Okay. Order confirmation. I'm awaiting my email with information on how I can track my order. All right, I'm done.
Now we'll show you how you can test the content on your site. In this example, the goal of the test is to discover how people search for information on an intranet site, what search queries people entered, if any, and whether people understand the information.
You've been working full-time at your current job for 1 year. You recently were ill and missed 12 days of work. Find out how much of this time your company covers. Wow. Okay, this is really busy, so see if I can find a search. Okay, there's a search up there. Company absence, I'll try. In. Intranet corporate website. I hate when they do this. I have no idea what it is, but I'll try intranet. And then I'll go. Company information, new hiring. This isn't what I wanted, so I guess I gotta search again. Okay, so I'm gonna type in sick leave, I guess. And go. All right, this looks more like it. I've got sick leave policies and all that jazz, so let's try that. Eligibility, accrual, okay. I can do 8 hours a day for maximum of 130 days. This is all stuff I already know though. Let's scroll down and see if there's anything else. There we go, procedures. No, it just tells me that I have 10 days of sick leave, but it doesn't tell me what happens if I go over 12. So let's see if there's any more. Workers' compensation. Okay, this isn't what I'm looking for. You know what? There's just too much to read on this, so I wouldn't keep reading. It's just there's too much stuff to read. So I'd just get on the phone and call Human Resources or something rather than look at this. So I'm done.
You can test the composition of your home page even before any coding is done. Even if you have multiple competing versions of the home page, this is a good way to test them and identify the elements that work and those that don't. So this is the second design that you're going to see. Go ahead and take a few minutes and familiarize yourself with this site.
Okay.
So what's your first impression when you see this page?
I think it's pretty cool. I really like the graphics, and it's really clean looking and it looks well organized.
Name a few adjectives to describe this site.
Like I said, cool. And I think it's attractive, and I think it's kind of hip.
What do you think is the purpose of this site?
The purpose of the site. I think the purpose of the site is to let me know about all the digital products that Samsung makes.
What does this company do?
I think they make digital products, like it says flat screen, flat panel TVs, and I bet you they make cell phones and things like that too.
So if you were going to look for a mobile phone, where would you go?
Let me see. I would go to the products page, or the products tab here at the top.
What would you expect when you click on that?
Well, I would hope that all the different types of products they make, not just cell phones, but TVs and things like that, and you could choose what product that you were, specific product you were looking for. That's what I'd hope I would do.
What do you think of this area right here?
You know what? I noticed that. I'm assuming it's going to tell me about digital news from Samsung, but because they cut off the titles, I really don't know what I'm going to be reading about. So I didn't like that really.
Is there anything on this page that you particularly liked?
You know, I really liked the graphic. I thought it was really, really well put together, and it made me want to look at the page. And I also liked the fact that there was a digital magazine, because if I bought their products, I might want to be able to check up on new updates and new things that go with the product.
Anything else?
You know, I did notice there was the investor relations site, and if I wanted to invest in the company, I would know right where to look. So I like that a lot.
Okay. Did you notice this area here?
You know what? Not as much as the rest, because it's smaller. And it looks like it's saying the same things that the big areas see, so I really didn't notice it.
Okay. So comparing this design with the previous design that you saw, which one do you prefer?
I definitely prefer this one better. It's much more organized, and it's just cleaner looking and neater looking, and the other one was so confusing, and this one seems pretty straightforward.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Paper prototypes can be applied to many other different designs, such as hardware, consumer products, and handheld devices. The following demonstration shows how a mobile phone feature can easily be tested by simply using plain white paper and a few sticky notes.
Your mobile phone has been ringing all morning, but you were too busy to answer it. Find out who has been calling you. I've never seen this type of phone before. Since I'm going to try to find out who's calling me, I'll try the arrows. I'll push up. Well, it wasn't labeled, so it took me to the telephone book, and obviously I know that's not it. So I guess I'll hit clear, get rid of that, and try something else. Next thing I'll try is, I guess I'll try the menu button and see where that takes me. So I'll press the menu button. Calls, phone book, and messages. So I guess I'm trying to get calls, so I guess I'll press the 1 button. There we go. Outgoing, incoming, and missed. That's a 3. So I'll press the 3. There it has my missed calls. I missed 2 of them. I guess I'm done.
Three-dimensional designs such as kiosks can also be tested early. Here's an example of how we tested a parking payment terminal. This is James. He's going to be our ticket terminal, and he'll be sitting behind the machine.
Okay. Well, I'm supposed to get my parking ticket fee paid for, and I guess I use this terminal or machine to do that. And it says to insert my entry ticket, so I guess I'm going to put it in here. Okay. Read the fee on the display. Oh, okay. It says I owe $18. Insert coins, notes, and bills. I don't have any coins, notes, or bills, so I guess I have to use the credit card. So where do I put that? Boy, I guess I'll try putting it where the coins, notes, and bills go. And it's not taking it, so that must be wrong. Oh, okay, I'll try the talk button and see if I can talk to the terminal attendant.
Let's say there's no one there to help you.
So then I gotta figure this out on my own. All right, didn't go in there. Okay, here's the credit card symbols. It's weird if it goes in the same place the ticket went, but I'll give it a try. Okay, I guess that's right, because my balance is now 0. So that's correct. I don't like that. I got my card back. Now where's my receipt? Oh, I'm supposed to push this? I don't like that at all. I push that. I guess that's it, because there's my receipt. I'm done.
Paper prototyping is a great way to test your ideas early in the design process. It could save you and your company a lot of time and money, and most of all, it's fun. We hope that we've given you some ideas on how to create and test paper prototypes. We now encourage you to go out and start doing your own.